Global Disaster Trends, the shocking truth about natural disasters, 1970 to 2025. What if I told you that despite natural disasters increasing fivefold since the 1970s, you're now 3 times less likely to die in one? Over 4 million lives lost, 20,000 disaster events, trillions in damage. But here's the twist that'll change how you see every hurricane, earthquake, and tsunami hitting the news. We're getting better at surviving them. The question is, are you prepared for what's coming next? Let's start with something the media won't tell you. Where disasters happen and where people die are 2 completely different maps. Picture this. A massive hurricane slams into Florida, causing $50 billion in damage. Tragic? Absolutely. But the death toll? Maybe dozens. Now imagine a cyclone of the same strength hitting Bangladesh in 1970. The result? 300,000 people dead in a single night. Same storm, different outcome. Here's the uncomfortable truth. 91% of all disaster deaths occur in developing countries, while wealthy nations absorb half the world's economic losses. North America has endured 47% of global disaster costs, but only 3% of deaths. Africa? Just 1% of economic losses, but 36% of fatalities. Your zip code doesn't just determine your income. It determines your chances of surviving the next big disaster. Drop a comment below. Which region do you think faces the most disaster events each year? The answer might surprise you. The Ring of Fire's deadly toll. If disasters were a horror movie, Asia would be the setting, and the body count is staggering. And numbers are almost incomprehensible. Asia has experienced over 50% of all global disaster deaths since 1970. We're talking several million lives. But here's what keeps disaster researchers up at night. It's not random. It's a perfect storm of geography, population density, and poverty colliding in the worst possible way. Walk with me through the deadliest corridors on Earth. The Bay of Bengal, where Bangladesh sits like a target for tropical cyclones. Its delta barely above sea level. The 1970 Bola cyclone didn't just kill. It erased 300,000 people from existence in hours. Then there's the Pacific Ring of Fire, where Indonesia faces a triple threat. Earthquakes that crack the earth open, tsunamis that swallow coastlines, and volcanoes that account for nearly half of all volcanic deaths in modern history. But here's where it gets personal. Remember the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami? You probably saw the videos. That wall of water that killed 230,000 people across 12 countries. Scientists knew a megaquake could happen. The warning system? It didn't exist yet. Today, it does. That's the difference between history and tragedy repeating. Pause for a second. Guess which single country has recorded the most disaster events from 2000 to 2019? Hint, it's not where you think. We'll reveal it in just a moment. Now let's talk about the killer no one sees coming, the one that doesn't make dramatic headlines. Close your eyes and imagine. An earthquake hits, buildings crumble, screams echo. Rescue crews race against time. That's a sudden onset disaster. Violent, immediate, terrifying. You can see the destruction. Now imagine this. The rains don't come. Crops wither under a merciless sun. Wells run dry. Children's bellies swell with hunger. Months pass. Then years. No explosion. No collapsed buildings. Just silence and death. Hundreds of thousands of deaths. That's a slow onset disaster. And here's the counterintuitive truth that'll change your perspective. Droughts have killed more people over the past 50 years than any other weather hazard. Over 650,000 deaths. Africa has borne 95% of its disaster fatalities from drought and famine alone. The 1983 to 85 Ethiopian famine, 300,000 people. The 2011 Somalia crisis, 250,000 more. The media loves the spectacle of sudden disasters. The tsunami waves, the hurricane winds you can hear howling. But the silent killers? They're erasing entire generations while the world looks away. Here's a question for you. Have you or your family ever experienced a natural disaster? Share your story in the comments. Your experience could help someone else prepare. But here's where this story takes a hopeful turn, and it's a game changer. Remember those shocking death tolls from the 1970s? In that decade, disasters killed roughly 100,000 people per year. Fast forward to the 2010s, under 20,000 annually. We've tripled our survival rate despite disasters increasing. How? 3 words: early warning systems. Bangladesh is living proof. The same region that lost 300,000 to a cyclone in 1970 has transformed disaster response. When powerful cyclones strike now, like the super cyclone in 2020 that killed over 100 people in India, Bangladesh's portion of the death toll was just 26, thanks to evacuating nearly 2.5 million people. Not because the storms are weaker, because they have warning systems, they have shelters, they have a plan. And here's what scientists recently discovered. Every dollar invested in early warning systems provides up to a 10-fold return in prevented losses and saved lives. It's not just smart, it's the difference between life and death. But, and this is critical, 1/3 of the world still lacks adequate early warning coverage. Climate change is supercharging storms, intensifying heat waves, and triggering floods in places that never saw them before. Germany's 2021 floods killed over 200 people in a region that thought they were safe from such disasters. The answer to our opening question: China. 577 disaster events from 2000 to 2019, the highest in the world. But their mortality rate plummeting thanks to massive infrastructure investment. Here's what this all means for you. Disasters aren't just getting worse, they're getting different. Heat waves in Alaska, floods in the Sahara, wildfires in the Arctic. The old playbooks don't work anymore. But knowledge is power. Understanding where disasters strike, how they kill, and why some communities survive while others don't. That's not just academic. That's your survival manual for an increasingly unstable world. Right now, make 2 commitments. First, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. The Disaster Research Notes channel is here to equip you with the knowledge to protect not only yourself, but the people you love. Every video could save a life, maybe yours. Second, check your own disaster preparedness. Do you have an emergency kit? Does your family have a meeting point? Would you know what to do in the next 60 seconds if disaster struck? Because here's the final truth. It's not if another major disaster happens, it's when. And whether you're a statistic or a survivor might depend on what you learned here today. Drop a comment. What disaster keeps you up at night? And check out our next video on the science behind earthquake early warning systems. Because the technology that's saving millions of lives worldwide might be coming to your region next. Stay safe, stay informed, and remember, in the game of disasters versus humanity, we're finally starting to win.